My name's Alex and I'm addicted to Genshin Impact.
Mr. Gumble, this is a Girl Scout meeting.
Is it? Or is it that you girls can't admit you have a problem?
So, let's talk about Genshin Impact. Wait, that music doesn't fit Genshin. Hold on, just edit in a bit. Ah, that's much better. Currently, Genshin Impact is one of the biggest games out right now. This game has a huge fan base with many of them dedicating hours to it. And, well, I've become one of them. Like pure crystal meth, Genshin Impact is a drug that I have become addicted to. And no, this is not a cry for help. I am perfectly content with spending every waking moment thinking about what all my favourite Genshin characters are doing while I'm not at my keyboard. So, what is it exactly that got me hooked on this game? Well, let's go through this step by step, shall we, from my humble beginnings. I was aware of Genshin Impact through a few streamers I watched on Twitch that played the game. My interest was piqued, I won't lie, but I never took the plunge to try the game. But, literally, out of the blue, I decided to give it a download the day after my birthday and see what all the hubbub was all about. Many people described the game to be very similar to Zelda Breath of the Wild in many areas, and I love Breath of the Wild, so I was hoping my excitement for that game would transfer to this one. The first thing that stands out is just how good this game looks. This game has a great art style, very similar to Breath of the Wild, almost like a 3D version of an anime. I found myself enjoying the combat greatly. Like that it was very simple, there aren't dozens of abilities to imagine like in an MMO games like World of Warcraft. Instead, each character gets one main ability and a super ability to utilise. There's of course much more complexity when it comes to them switching characters and using chain reactions, but we'll get to that later. The environments were great, big and open and allowed for great exploration. Little secret chests and puzzles were scattered throughout the world. Dangerous enemies like slimes and hilichurls roamed the land, allowing for fun combat scenarios. As I was playing, I was thinking to myself, I am enjoying the game, but there must be something I love about it, something that kept me coming back. What was it? No, I can't think of anything. Alright. Obviously the main draw of the game are the characters. The game hosts a great selection of playable characters, and, being anime inspired, for the most part, all of them have great designs. From the detail in your eyes to the elaborate design of their outfits, they look aesthetically pleasing, and the majority of them are really fun to play. Now, I got very lucky during my first few days of play. You see, Genshin Impact is what's known as a gacha game. Now, gacha refers to the vending machines that dispense prizes like toys. Similar to loot boxes, Genshin has banners which you can purchase using an in-game currency called Fates, which you can earn either in-game or just straight up buy them. Now, beginning players get access to the Beginner's Wish banner, which guarantees the character Noelle. She's a great character to have early on in the game as she provides a shield and healing. When I cried enough fate to buy this banner, the Archons must have been smiling down on me because I was given 4 characters. I got Noelle, obviously, but I also got Xiaoling, Fischl, and Kai-Ching, a 5-star character. Now, being a noob player, I didn't realise that this was a pretty big deal. Getting a 5-star character like Kai-Ching this early was fantastic, as she carried me throughout every part of the early game. I didn't even touch the team that the game gives you for free. My team was always Kai-Ching, Fischl, Xiaoling, and Noelle. And I suppose having a fun team like this early on in the game kept me entertained during the early parts of the game. Now, every great open world game needs a gorgeous and engaging game world to keep the player immersed. Skyrim's world is wondrous to explore with so many secrets and mysteries tucked away in every corner of the world. The Witcher 3 is such a dense and detailed world full of quests and monsters to slay to keep the player busy and immersed. And, as I explored the world of Teyvat, I found myself falling in love with its beauty. From the rolling green hills of the Scotland-inspired Mondstadt to the highest peaks of the mountains of Liyue with its beautiful Chinese-inspired design, to the gorgeous city of Liyue Harbour and the Japanese-inspired land of Inazuma, the world of Genshin Impact is truly beautiful, complemented by the beautiful music that plays as you explore. I remember the first time I set my eyes on the land of Liyue and saw Wang Chu-ing sitting atop a lonely tree in the middle of a marshland, and I knew I had to go there and see it for myself. Now, the game tries to stop you from exploring the whole world from the start. There are of course level restrictions in some areas with high level enemies, and you can't even go to Inazuma until you progress quite far into the story. But all that aside, I do think this game world is beautiful, and exploring it to find all the hidden chests and various items scattered throughout is a joyful experience. And with new updates coming out, more lands are added to explore. Pretty soon the world of Teyvat could be a grand sprawling world that will just keep growing, and I for one hope this is the case. It's not all sunshine and roses though, oh no. Genshin may be a beautiful looking game, but deep down in its core, it's a machine that eats away at all your free time. For you see, Genshin Impact is a constant grind. Even simple things like leveling up your character is painful, gaining XP is a slow process and it will take forever to get your characters to the next level. But your character can only reach a certain level before you have to ascend them using materials found in the world, and from bosses in order to reach the next set of levels, and requirements for ascending each time increases. The easiest way of leveling up is by using these XP bucks, which you get either from quests or, you guessed it, grinding. Then of course there's weapons which you have to equip for each character, and leveling them up with enhancement prisms which you get through quests and chests found in the world. Then you also have to ascend weapons in the same manner as the characters. But then in order to get to certain upgrade materials, you need to grind domains to get a chance of earning the upgrade materials you want. But you can't grind them infinitely because the game has a currency system called resin. You get 160, and when it's used up, you either have to wait for it to recharge or use fragile resin to gain more. You also have to equip 5 artifacts to your character, which all have different stats and can only be upgraded by dismantling older artifacts into the one you want to level up. And the only way to earn good artifacts is by grinding domains. But then there's also constellations, which you'll only unlock by getting multiple of the same character from banners. But also all characters have traits which you also have to upgrade using upgrade materials found in domains. So, yeah, that's a lot to take in, and for new players, it can seem incredibly overwhelming. My advice for anyone starting up this game, just focus on leveling up a few characters at a time. Hyper invest into your favourite or best characters, and don't stretch too much until late game. Luckily, all my years of playing Destiny have prepared me for this kind of grind, so it's not too bad for me. I don't mind the grind, it gives me something to do and keeps me coming back to the game. I'm currently grinding for good artifact sets for my characters along with upgrade materials. It's an experience which will turn some people off, it's just the type of game Genshin is, and if you go into the game knowing that, I think you'll be fine when you get to the late parts of the game. I've come to the realization that Genshin Impact is basically just Pokemon. Except instead of catching cute creatures, you're catching anime girls. And the only way to catch them is to entice them near you with some money. The gacha system is the bread and butter of Genshin. It's what keeps players like me scrambling back to the game. For you see, special 5-star characters can only be obtained from their banners. These banners, however, are in constant rotation. So if you missed out on getting the character you really wanted, you're gonna have to wait God knows how long until they return. I'm not ashamed to say that I spent easily over £100 pulling for one character. In my defense, it was Hu Tao, so you can understand why I had to do it. But once you do spend your first £100, nothing will stop me from spending my second. You know why? Because now I'm committed to this game. I wouldn't just drop that kind of money on a game I have no intention of dropping after a few months of play. No, sir. As long as they keep releasing content and adding more anime waifus, I will gladly empty my wallet to catch them all. I'm still just here waiting for Raiden Shogun and Klee's rerun. When it comes to the gameplay, Genshin plays it very safe, but also likes to make it complex at the same time. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, combat is as simple as pressing the left mouse click to use a basic attack or holding it down to do a charged attack. Some characters use different weapons like swords, bows, polearms, claymores, or catalysts. Each weapon gives each character a distinct style of play, and you have to keep this in mind when assembling your team. Genshin allows up to 4 characters in your party. Now all the characters aren't on the field at the same time like in, for example, Dragon Age. No! You have to manually switch between them during battle, meaning you can only play as one character at any one time. I actually really like this method. Having only focus on one character at a time makes combat scenarios simple and easy to make out, instead of having to worry about 3 other characters running about, getting hurt or killed when I let them out of my sight for 2 seconds like a 2-year-old. Like I said earlier, each character has one ability and one super ability. They are easy to use with one button clicks and change the way combat flows, for the complexity begins when you start using chain reactions. Each character has a special element assigned to them. Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, Geo, Electro, Amino, and a 7th one we don't talk about. Each element will cause a different chain reaction. Cryo and Hydro will freeze, Electro and Pyro will cause overcharge, you get the idea. It's understanding how these elements work together and what reactions they cause that makes combat more complex and enjoyable. I for one find it refreshing that I have to constantly manage multiple abilities for every character. Knowing that every character only performs 2 makes it easier to master them and find the characters and team you like the most. Maybe some people like it when characters have several abilities or a massive upgrade tree to make them more powerful. I do too in other games, but in a game like Genshin, I feel as though adding more complexity would just make the experience less fun overall. As I said earlier, the main draw of the game comes from the characters. They are, of course, the main driving force of the game. Borderlands and Destiny have their guns for loot. Genshin has cute anime girls. I think we know what the superior loot is here. Obviously, obtaining the character you desperately wanted is pure joy, and it's a rush that just can't be beaten. I knew I was a die-hard fan of this game when the Genshin god smiled upon me and awarded me my favourite Hydro girl, Kokomi. But it's not just playing the characters that makes the game enjoyable, it's interacting with them in the world. Seeing characters pop up in mainline story quests and seeing them talk with other characters is always a lot of fun. I love being able to participate in hangout quests and spend time with some of my favourite characters. I can help out Noelle with her knight's exam, or spot the sneaky, drowsy Sayu spying on me. Just being able to talk with them and interact with them in the world makes the game feel more alive. And it's always great to see these characters pop up in new story update quests, showing that these characters are important to the story and the world. It's what makes Genshin feel so wholesome. I would love to have a celebration event where all the characters we have met on our travels all come together for a big party. Basically what Mass Effect 3 did with the Citadel DLC. It's a little upsetting that I can't replay character story quests, meaning I can't hang out with Hu Tao until Miheho decides to bring her into a quest in a future update. But that's the only issue I have, it's a small complaint. Genshin Impact is quickly becoming one of my new favourite pastimes. I could spend hours within this lovingly crafted, tranquil game. I'm so happy I decided to finally play it, even if my wallet isn't. Once again, I would like to thank you all for watching me gush over this game. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, comment down below your favourite Genshin characters and who you were saving up those Primal Gems for. Check out my other social accounts, and please, have a good day.